So Puppies Fury. What up, random rockers? That's the album we're talking about today. I said enough about it in my Skillet video. Which is why I'm wearing the shirt now instead of when I should have worn it then. When I realized it, I was like, screw it. I screwed it up. So now I figured, I'll just wear it and say, hashtags get a little niched at Random Rock and Real Riffs and Reviews. Check it out. Or at least that's what I'm going to do. I don't know. I'm still figuring out that hashtag distribution, since that's all I think I can do at the moment. Alright. Yes. Some of you are wondering, especially there's some of you diehard ones out there, why am I reviewing this now when it came out in May? Well, if you bother to watch my videos, people, you would know I've been a little bit more preoccupied by things that go on outside of this YouTube here. I have a real life, you know. This is why it's only a part-time thing. And, yeah. Not to mention Thrice happened. Yeah. Yeah. Of course. So, yeah, I think within the same week, so I kind of forgot about it. And then recently remembered, oh, yeah, and I heard Stick to Your Guns on the radio. I was like, wait, they had a new album, I think, out. When is that supposed to have out? I was like, oh, shit. May. Fuck. It's August. The fuck was I thinking? Anyway. Yep. That's kind of what happened with that. But enough of the reasons, excuses, all the bullshit. Let's get into the album, or at least the best that I can with it. Leading up to this album, as far as you all should probably know already, Brian Scott is our new lead singer, because Simon Moore, well, he didn't quit the band, as I thought he had originally, before I looked up information recently, and found out that he was fired due to the fact that he tried to dissolve the band via a lawyer. Kind of a cheap way of doing things, and I think after that, it wouldn't surprise me if in a weird way that might have maybe Simon and Emma didn't work out anymore by that point, and their relationship may have dissolved in the process instead, more so or less, and now she's the one kind of sort of fronting, I guess, or at least keeping the band afloat, being the only original member left of the band. And would that mean a little more female vocals or something? Not really. Brian comes, the new lead guitarist and lead vocalist is, as I said, Brian Scott. I think he's American, because you barely tell he's not as Aussie accented. Yeah, I think so. He's not as Aussie accented as Simon is, and not to mention, especially in the clean specifically, because now his vocals definitely, his clean register is so much better than Simon's, honestly, and it blends in a little better with, I think, alto, mezzo-soprano, I think alto vocal style of Emma, of bassist Emma, very well. Her background vocals, and even blends in really well when he finally sits on the background on the track Walls You Changed, which I kind of sort of think in a weird way may have something to do with how she felt about what Simon did. I mean, or at least using some sort of analogy of a king on his throne and having him fall, or at least, him filling up all these walls, only to think that it was just to stop her from coming in, but all it really did was have it only to block people from coming in, only to realize that he blocked himself out, and now it's messing with him. Which is a very solid, good track, and it definitely feels one of the more Sick Puppies-ish in terms of instrumentation, because some things about this record, compared to the last album, Connect, which I did not like all that much. So Simon's departure, given the BS, was but with Brian Scott, his vocals are nice, and of course Stick to Your Guns is a great choice of lead single, and it's the second track of this. Black and Blue is not a terrible introduction, but I didn't catch on to it at first. But then Stick to Your Guns kind of brings it back around for me as a good follow-up track to kind of get you back in the mood. It's like why you got into the album in the first place. Apparently there was a video for Earth to You, which is actually a really good track, and a lot of moments on this album, honestly, that's the thing about Emma's that really stands out the most throughout most of this record, is there's a lot more bass going on, even in the funky style that she likes to utilize. Funky, slappy sort of style that she's known for using in some of her, in terms of technique. And it shows up a lot more in a good way. It's not annoying or anything, you know? And the thing about this record also that's definitely different, that differs from the Simon Moore era of the band, is that there's very little acoustic. But that's mostly because I think they kind of were a little acoustic out, or at least the other two members were, because of the fact that they used it a lot on Connect, to the point where it just didn't work as well. Except, you know, to keep from having to be completely compared to Tripolar, since it was, you know, that good of an album for what they were. And a lot of really good songs had come off of that record, too. I mean, Odd One, You're Going Down, War, Riptide. I'm trying to think of the one. I know there's another song. It was playing on even pop stations, but for some reason, I'm forgetting it, and I feel bad for it, because it was a good track. And yet Connect Going Back was a good track, but other than that, like, the only other track I remember from that album was Telling Lies. And I'm surprised that didn't become like a hit or anything, because the other tracks that they chose for singles were kind of meh. They were okay. They were just like, you know, kind of backburner, some of the Tripolar backburner type stuff that never made the cut for singles cut type of thing. They were just a bit rough, around the edges kind of cuts. And of course, like I said, now we have this record, and I'm here to tell you, I had to, when I finally remembered about the album, I also had to make sure and look for the Best Buy exclusive bonus tracks, and I'm going to tell you, you know, Let Me Live's a good track, especially when they kind of like know how to break up the let me, and then like starts, the good perfect use of start stop with the main title in the chorus, Let Me Live. I can't, you know, do it as well right now because, you know, it's late at night and I got people sleeping upstairs. So, yeah. I mean, Where Do I Begin is a nice little, one of those softer tracks that kind of, sort of, softer-ish type tracks that sort of try to break the monotony of it and try to bring a certain level of, a better level of consistency to them, and, you know, show that they aren't going to be all hard all the way through, but, you know, instrumentally they are still, in a way. Just the Beginning goes back to that. Of course, I mentioned Walls You've Changed already. And the way they kind of use and sometimes I like how some of the lines almost like kind of hint at the next track when you're not looking at it. And it helps when you like see it on your CD player or something and it actually shows the titles, you know. If you have one of the more updated vehicles that do that. I mean, like when it's like using the whole "It's Killing You" line, and, you know, they end that off on Walls You Change, leading into the next track called "Killing Time." Even though I just find it kind of interesting how they do that. So in a weird way, it kind of sets itself up right, and sometimes not bad. Earth to You is good, but I mean, Beautiful Chaos is in very interesting, contrast-ish sort of style, and deals with that, seeing the beauty out of, you know, in an archaic way or something of that nature, I guess. And then the final two tracks that are on the actual album itself, not the deluxe edition that I have here, would be, or the tracks If I Stay, which most of these tracks seem to have in some way dealing with or overcoming some of the instances of trying to continue up as it for Emma and Mark. to have tried to continue on with Brian Scott now in the band. And, you know, so even tracks like If I Stay, and then, which some of them kind of are love ballady stuff, but, you know, not so bleh about it, you know. And then the one that could be, but I still find it kind of awesome, and it actually is the softest of the tracks, and the only one that I feel like really utilizes the acoustics that are missing throughout most of the album, is Here With You. It's definitely kind of has that sort of certain kind of vibe that some of the good aspects of Connected more, or at least certain times where the acoustics were used in like an odd one, but not quite odd one. Like, I know the track I'm trying to think of, but that I'm forgetting at the moment. You know, leave it in the comments. I know I'm forgetting, and forgive me, Sick Puppy fans. But Here With You is really dang good. Charlatan, I mean, Stick to Your Guns is definitely, going back to Stick to Your Guns, that I just realized, it is, I mean, I like that sort of vibe of just, you know, still, that I feel definitely was a good choice of lead single in terms of just the transitioning of from Simon to Brian, and how this, and, you know, them overcoming this obstacle that they had to go through because of that Simon put in front of them. And, you know, just, you know, and that just this telling themselves to, and pumping themselves up to actually still move forward and move on, you know. Stick to your guns, you know, don't let anyone tell you differently, you know, getting over that hurdle, getting over those walls. You know, that kind of, sort of an inspirational kind of track, but also kind of like yet also a little bit of a F you to all those who try to put us down, and yet we still try to get back up and stuff. It's kind of one of those good tracks. But yeah, like Here With You is just a nice little lovey kind of ballad. Like, I'd give up all the mad tomorrows, be here with you, stuff like that. But it's done in such a way that works, and even how they chose to end it with Brian's vocals, it's like, it's a great way of ending it, and does leave you in a way wanting a little more. It has that sort of vibe to it that feels it anthemic, and a lot of these tracks have that sort of anthemic vibe that has a certain level of consistency that's just is great. And then, of course, you feel a lot more, and in a way, the bonus, which is why I recommend the bonus tracks of Charlatan and Not Now, and Not Now is definitely a great track to check out. Especially with all the instrumentation on it, too. And it's just very nicely composed and arranged. I feel like that's what is great about this band when it comes to using acoustics and stuff. At least, because most artists, when you know a good song is, it's mostly when you first are able to hear it acoustically. And that's what, you know, Sick Puppies is known for, and why they've managed to hold on for so long, so well. And some of these tracks, I wouldn't necessarily, would I say that most of these tracks on here would be able to transition better in acoustic? I don't know. But does that mean that they are bad songs? Hell no. I actually prefer this over Connected completely, and it just works better for the band. And I feel like, in a way, Connected needed to happen in order for them to go back to making heavier songs, but in a more mature and subdued kind of way, which works really well. This era, I feel, is pretty good, really damn strong, and it's probably, I haven't been surprised like this. I mean, in 2014, Chevelles logo was Chevelles Gorgola. Last year, I had mentioned it in my review. That's on Facebook. Check that out. I'll probably leave a link in the description for you to go see it. If not, I'll figure out from there. Then there's, I mean, I hate when I lose train of thought here. But yeah, this album, and then of course there's the last year's 10 Years album, From Birth to Burial, and then of course this album, pleasant surprise, guys, just super pleasant surprise, and overall Sick Puppies Furies. I'm this close to wanting to do it, but I know that some people may not always like it because, you know, transitioning from people like, you know, I'm gonna miss Simon or some shit, and they just don't feel like Brian's same. Or there's gonna be that kind of crap. And in a way, am I able to convince you guys that? Maybe so, maybe not. But is it enough for me to give it the full treatment, or just give it what I'm about to give it now, which is what I am going to give it. It's thumbs up, guys. It truly totally deserves to be up there. It's definitely one that's grown on me. It's one of the best one of the pleasant surprises of this year. Just very, very pleasant surprise from the band. And definitely worth treating yourself if you're a Sick Puppies fan. And if you just like good hard rock music in general, and maybe with some acoustics here and there to just kind of break up monotony. Though it's only briefly and only for like maybe one track. But even with that being said, there's still a lot of other stuff going on in this track that has good enough songwriting to really get you through it, and that's kind of where it goes in. It definitely feels like it could come off almost like a greatest hits in a way, which isn't a bad thing necessarily. Especially when you're saying hits. It's like hits, not misses, hits. So I'd say, yeah, as long as you're willing to get over the hump then yeah, just thumbs up all the way, guys. What did you think of Sick Puppies Fury? And you know, telling me, hey, it took forever you to figure this out or something, blah, 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 bullshit. Just comment below, let me know what you thought of the album. What did you think of me finally getting into it, I guess? And being probably one of the few people who've bothered to talk about it, you know. And hopefully if you have a Best Buy near you, make sure you get that deluxe edition, because those bonus tracks, Charlatan and Not Now, are worth it. I'm going to just say that right now. That even makes the album feel more completed. All the more. And also, like I said, like I've already said about the Facebook. Yeah, that's... Also, if you rock this video, like button with thrust if you must. And, which you guys don't do enough of, since some of them have been a little dislikey. Screw you. Screw you, dislikes. And, I think that's about it for this one. Next upcoming videos will be movie-oriented. Album-wise, may not be until September. Because it's just nothing interesting to me. I mean, there's some interesting albums I've heard about, but I may just recommend them and mention them in passing in later reviews if I have to, of some sort. And, that's about it. As always, guys, keep it random, keep it real, keep it rocking, and I'll see you guys in the next video.